Hi there. Today I'm going to give you a quick overview about the 9 parts of speech so that you can recognize them in sentences when needed. And as a preview, I'm going to be discussing 9 parts of speech, but to be fair, some teachers would argue with me and say that there are only 8 parts of speech, because some teachers and scholars do not consider articles to be their own category. I do, and other people do as well, but just keep that in mind. You may hear some people say that there are 8 parts of speech and others say that there are 9. And I'm going to discuss these today in groups to help your memory, and because I think there are some logical divisions here. There's going to be a noun category, a verb category, and an everything else category. So first we'll talk about the noun group. Nouns, pronouns, articles, and adjectives. Nouns are easy. It's just people, places, and things. The only tricky part is when we get into proper nouns versus common nouns, because they affect which nouns get capitalized. Proper nouns are specific ones that have a name. Like, if I'm going to talk about a mountain, that would be a common noun because it's just a general category, mountain or mountains. But if I name a specific mountain, like Mount Kilimanjaro, then that's going to be capitalized and it's a proper noun. Articles are probably the easiest part of speech out of the 9 to remember, because it's just 3 specific words, a, an, and the. They help specify which noun or pronoun is being discussed. Pronouns replace nouns. There's actually a lot of different categories of pronouns, and there is a whole lot of words that all count as pronouns. There's a whole different video on pronouns if you want to watch it, because I can't even begin to comprehensively address it here. But just so you know, pronouns can include some of the more common personal ones like I, you, he, she, it, we, they, as well as other kinds of pronouns like possessive ones, my, mine, our, ours, their, theirs, etc. And adjectives describe nouns and pronouns, like which car, the new car, or which girl, the pretty girl, or which shirt, my favorite shirt. So these should all be fairly basic and familiar to you. Verbs and adverbs are hopefully familiar already as well. Verbs we know have different tenses like past, future, present. There's different kinds of verbs as well. There are action verbs, which are the traditional ones like jump, read, study, like, enjoy, dance, etc. But there's also the state of being verbs that a lot of people tend to forget about, like is, am, are, and was, and all these different variations of to be. There's also helping verbs and verbals and other funny kinds of verbs that all still count, and when I show you some examples in a few minutes, you need to keep an open mind about which things count as verbs still. It's not just the action verbs like danced. And then adverbs are those words or phrases that modify or clarify or describe a verb. Here's probably the biggest misconception. A lot of us have been taught that adverbs end in ly, but not every adverb ends in ly, just some of them. So think really hard about whether or not a word is describing a verb, and if so, it might be an adverb after all, even if it doesn't end in ly. And then here are some of the miscellaneous ones: conjunctions, interjections, and prepositions. And again, there's different videos that talk about these as well. Conjunctions primarily include 2 big categories: coordinating conjunctions, which is fanboys, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so, or subordinating conjunctions like the acronym AWOOBIS, after, as, although, when, while, until, before, because, if, since. These are important because they affect sentence types and what kinds of clauses are happening, because remember, fanboys can help join 2 independent clauses, subordinating ones can help kickstart a dependent clause, etc. Conjunctive adverbs are some of those transition words that can go next to a semicolon and help join 2 sentences. For example, if I say a sentence, semicolon, however, comma, and then I launch my next sentence, that's been used correctly. Interjections exclaim or give you a word off to the side. They give you a side comment. Like, hey, whoa, okay, right? Any of those like single word expressions that often go at the beginning or the end of a sentence are probably interjections. And finally, prepositions are words that show time, space, or location. So these ones will show you where we went or how we did it or when we did it. So if I say that the marching band ran across the field, across is a preposition because it shows where they went. I know that was a lot of information at once, so let's look at some examples in practice. I am going to color code all of these sentences so that every single word is color coded by its part of speech. Take a quick preview at these and see if you could do that too. You can either pick just one sentence to try to color code or maybe all of them. And if you're ready to see the answers, let's take a look and see what these parts of speech look like in action. Ta-da! Very colorful and pretty. Here's number 1. The cute puppy jumped onto the couch, so we made her get down. Which puppy? The cute one. What did she do? She jumped. Where did she jump? Onto the couch. Here's a prepositional phrase. So, conjunction. What did we do? We made her get down. Okay, interjection. I appreciate your help. Semicolon. Will you tutor me again? So, when are we tutoring? Again. So that's an adverb, clarifying the verb tutor. Now, before I continue, please remember that a lot of words could count as more than one part of speech, depending on how they are behaving in a specific sentence. You and I know that the word tutor could be a noun to describe a person who is a tutor. Or maybe the word tutor is going to behave like a verb as it is in this sentence. So just because I've labeled something on this slide as a certain part of speech doesn't mean that word will universally be that category. Same thing for words like help or technically couch. Sometimes we use it as a verb. Let's see, what other ones? Favorite. This started out as an adjective, but it's become a verb with the birth of the internet and how we favorite things. So you get the idea. Number 3, we drove through the creek in his new Jeep. How do we drive? To this place. What do we do it in? This thing. So there's more than one phrase that describes driving. My favorite iPhone is lost. Brutus has stolen it. What's important here is to remember that we've got a helping verb, has, to go with the verb stolen. So they're both verbs. You might have more than one verb going on in a sentence or more than one verb next to each other. Because the blizzard started early, our game was postponed. Now remember, because is a conjunction. It's that subordinating conjunction or wubis word. Therefore, I know that this first half of the sentence up until the comma is a dependent clause. 6 uses a different kind of conjunction, the coordinating conjunction, but. Our spotted goldfish survived, but he's moving very slowly in the tank. Another thing to note in this example sentence is that very and slowly are both adverbs and they're right next to each other, and that's okay. And then is moving is yet another example of to be verb and a helping verb that goes with it. Interjection. I hate to tell you this, but that TV series was canceled. And then number 8, we are the champions, my friends, and we'll keep on fighting till the end. 2 things here. We will has been contracted into one word, we'll. Just keep in mind that technically this one word represents both a pronoun and a verb, because the word will is hiding in the contraction. And then the word until has been abbreviated to just till, but it's still a conjunction because until is one of those awubis words. So again, I know this was a lot of information in a short amount of time. Feel free to rewatch this or watch any of my videos that further describe one of the 9 parts of speech if that's something you need help with. Thanks for watching.